My name is Gavin Evans, and today is my first episode of Original versus Remake. This is a series I'm going to be doing where I talk about an original movie and a remake of that original. I'm going to review each movie separately, and then I'm going to compare them and say which one I think does the story better. So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 1998 and the 2008 version of Funny Games. And yes, the 2008 and 1998. They were screened at festivals in 1997 and 2007. So they're marked as those releases, but they actually came out in 2008. This is actually going to be a very short review, and you'll see why in just a few minutes. But let me talk about the 1998 version first. This movie has one of the best 30-minute section of any movie ever. The first 30 minutes of this movie is some of the most unnerving, uncomfortable stuff to watch ever. The entire time I just felt sick to my stomach and I was getting enraged, and just to watch what seems like a normal interaction just escalate to a place where it's just horrific what's happening is just, oh my goodness, it really hits home, and it's just directed masterfully. Those first 30 minutes are just some of the best ever made. I am not capable of remembering the actors and actresses' names, so I will say that the performances from Suzanne Larsal, Yuak Muhi, Arnold Fresh, and Frank Going are all incredible. The performances in this movie make it what it is. And if I'm being honest though, after that first 30 minutes, the movie just starts to drag on to me. I don't think the movie ever evolves. I know people love it because there's a few scenes where the villain turns to the camera and he's just like, well, you want this to happen, don't you? And I get what the movie's going for. It's trying to be like, oh, well, we're watching horror movies, so we want to see horrific things happening. But I just don't think that element of the movie was present enough to really have an effect on my overall views on the movie. And because of that, anytime they do bring it up, I'm just like, oh, that's interesting, but then they just don't really deliver on it. And it just feels like they're touching the tip of that concept, and I wish they would have done more with it. This movie does completely overstay its welcome. I think that, yes, okay, the first 30 minutes are completely masterful, but then after that, it's just all downhill from there. The movie just becomes really repetitive to watch, and it's really boring. There's a moment, and if you've seen the movie, you probably know exactly what moment I'm talking about, but there's a moment with a shotgun. And the moment after that is some of the most dreadfully boring stuff I've ever seen in a movie. To be honest, I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again because of how boring that 20-minute section is. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything happens in the slowest, most dreadfully boring of ways, and it's just mind-numbingly boring. I know I keep saying boring, but I'm really not doing it justice with how boring that section is. And yes, I know this is an art house movie and it's meant to be so and all that, but it's also meant to be engaging or have enough ideas there, and I just think there's a point where you're just being overindulged. That said, the first 30 minutes of this movie are so good. Like, it is just some of the best filmmaking ever, and the performances are incredible. So even though the rest of the movie is tough to get through, I'm still gonna give the original Funny Games a 7 out of 10. Just because of that first half hour. When a movie hits that high of highs, then I have to give credit to it. But honestly, you can turn it off after that first half hour and be perfectly fine. I know that's a controversial take because people love this movie, but I don't love it as much as I'd like to. I still think it's good enough, but it could be better. And now to talk about the 2008 version with Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. The performances in this movie are once again really good. Naomi Watts, Tim Roth, and Michael Pitt and Brady Corbet are really good in the movie too. The first half hour of this movie is just some of the most uncomfortable and unnerving stuff ever made. Like, just for a normal interaction to start off so mundane and then just to watch that escalate, it is just, it really strikes a chord with me. I felt sick to my stomach. Wait, what's that? I already said that? Did I? Oh, right! Oh man, silly me! I completely forgot. This movie has no reason to exist because it's literally shot for shot the exact same movie. And that is not an exaggeration. It is literally the exact same. The camera is placed in the same spot. Every single element is the exact same. I am not making this up. I get what the director's going for because he thinks that what the ideas that he's going for come through more in America. But man, this movie has no reason to exist. If you don't mind subtitles, everything you could possibly get from this movie, you get better in this movie. Now, if you don't want to read subtitles, then watch this movie. But this movie has no reason to exist. Just like the original, there's a 20-minute section that's dreadfully boring. After the first half hour, it overstays its welcome and it just drags on. There's the whole element of the bad guys talking to the camera and having control of the situation isn't touched up on nearly enough. But here, it's original. Here, it's like, I've already seen this. Why am I watching this again? There's no reason to watch both of these movies ever again. Just choose one. If you want subtitles, pick the original. If you don't want subtitles, do this. I can't give Funny Games a 2008 version, even though the first half hour is incredible. I can't give it any point because it is lazy. It is a remake that does nothing new. It follows the original completely 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and give the 2008 version of Funny Games a 2 out of 10. The performances are good. The first half hour is great, like I said, but there's nothing new here. So, which one do I prefer? The 1998 version of Funny Games. That's the one that you should check out if you do watch Funny Games. But have you seen Funny Games? Which one did you prefer? Do you prefer the 2008 one or the 1998 one? Do you prefer subs or do you prefer English? Let me know in the comments down below. Comment, subscribe, like, stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.